Staches and Glasses Podcast is back and ready to do the damn thing. Here with Jay Watts, ready to talk about the NBA Finals. Game 2 just finished up. We both just finished watching it in separate locales, as we usually do. Justin Waters, my cohort, how are you doing tonight, my friend?
Doing good. Sunday, fun day. Finally got to watch basketball in between these 3 days. It's from going from every night damn near to this 3 and 4 day layaway. It's just, I guess it's cool they're stretching it out, but
well, there's one series left, and I think they typically do like a schedule that sees a couple of days between finals, and I think the next game is Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Wednesday, June 11th in Indiana.
Man.
So you're going to have another couple of days to kind of,
it's all right. I got my
digest all of this.
It's fine. I got my own highlights. I'm going to check out.
Your own highlights, huh? Are you talking about your men's league or what's up?
Yeah, I got to watch something. Yeah, I never film it, so it doesn't matter. It's just, it'd be cool, though. See myself.
Have you ever seen some dudes like nowadays, they put like this vest on and they got a GoPro sitting in the middle of their chest?
Yeah.
You ever thought about doing that?
No, to me, that's when it becomes too much. Like, I mean, playing basketball, and when you get love from somebody else and like the respect of other people, or they shake your hand or say good game, like, bro, and they have that connection with you, to me, that's what it's not about me forcing it on the camera. So somebody, like, I'm almost, I don't know, it feels like you're pushing it too much, like you're doing too much. Now, if somebody was videotaping on the side, or I've seen guys videotape their whole game, like, cool. I always take it as like, oh, you guys think you're going to get a highlight on me? Well, I'm going to make my own little highlight within your video. And one time I wanted to ask a guy, like, hey, can you email me that? Send that over to...
What's your handle? I'll follow you so I can see my highlight.
Dude, but, good times.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not doing all that. That's too much.
Right.
The hype, the clout part, any clout percentage, I don't like it.
Well, I mean, those guys, the guys that do wear the vests with the GoPro, they probably belong on Influencers in the Wild. You ever seen that Instagram account? Influencers in the Wild? Yeah,
No.
It's
funny.
secondary footage of, you see influencers do their stuff with their, dancing in front of their cameras in public. But this is like third-party footage of somebody just seeing them do that in the wild.
Oh, I see. And you're like, what in God's name is going on?
Like, as when you see the influencers video, you're like, okay, look at this idiot dancing their selfie camera. But when you see the third-party video, it gives you a real sense of, what the fuck are they doing? Where have we gone as a society to where this is a regular thing now? Like,
it's monetized. That's why everybody is like,
of course,
and then it sucks because there are some people out there who are naturally funny, entertaining, and you're like, hey, I like the idea of the internet where you're open up to see more of those kind of funny voices or people instead of the ones we're used to. But then it's a floodgate for the non-talented, just ass clowns. And then they're all over the place. And you're like, bro, this is what makes, because then for other people and for younger people, they feel like that's society or that's like how things are. And you're like, no, man, this is not. When we were growing up, you might have heard a weird story from something that happened from your cousins and wherever. And you'd hear that once in a while and be like, oh, yeah, that was a weird fucking story. But now imagine these kids are hearing those weird stories like every day. Like, so they really believe that, like, oh, this crazy reality. It's like, dude, that's not not the real world.
It's not the real world, but technically it is. And I'll tell you why, because that is how society operates now. 30 years ago, we didn't operate that way, like you said. But that's not the world we live in anymore 30 years ago. That was the 90s, a good time that we remember. But now it's just, it's golden. But now it's just this clusterfuck of idiocracy. And
because
it's tough for me to wrap my brain around it because I see a lot of it. And I'm just like, like I just said, like, where are we as a society now to where this is the thing that we do? Like, this is how we get ours. We make ourselves look like jackasses. Like
this because we can't keep up to the tech.
We can't. And
yeah,
you know
it's
what
faster
else?
than us.
You know what else is like? Everybody has a podcast now. Two idiots who peaked in high school can start a podcast and talk about the NBA like they know what the fuck they're talking about. It's terrible.
Hey!
Oh, wait a second.
Nobody peaked in high school. Okay, we peaked after, and we're slowly moving in the right direction, pal.
Yeah, well,
no matter what, you're breathing, son. You breathing, son.
I am breathing. I'm breathing into this microphone, and I'm saying words for the interwebs to indulge, and I'm happy with that. If I could just do this all the time, I'd be a very happy camper, but we all got to grind different ways. Maybe I should become an influencer and start dancing in front of the camera in the middle
of...
Oh, my God.
You should do it.
And after all that...
you just... We got a little segment, Erik's talents. You're just going to let it out, baby. Why not? But you're funny, so it would make sense, though.
Props.
See, you being an influencer would make more sense to me because... No,
you're funny.
You know what I'm saying.
I'm not. I'm just a guy with headphones and a mic.
Same here. I got old headphones.
That's true. These are actually my PlayStation headphones. PlayStation that I bought and never play because I'm an adult and don't play video games anymore or something. No, I do. But
yeah, dude, you got to have your self-care time, bro. Always got to have self-care, no matter what that shit is. Another helpful hint, audience.
There you go.
You're an adult. You need to have some self-care time, whatever the hell that is. Do you, dude. Yeah. Even if you could be playing Dungeons and Dragons with somebody, who cares? As long as you're doing you, fuck it. I'm down.
That's true. You know who's not doing them? Or you
who's that?
Doing you, not following through with our advice, is the Indiana Pacers, because they got mollywopped in game 2 of the NBA Finals by the Oklahoma City Thunder. We talked about it before we started recording, but the first quarter was kind of competitive, not really, but the rest of the game was just blown wide open by OKC. They were up by as many as 23 at one point. It was really not a competitive game. Tyrese Halliburton, for all the love that he received after his game 1 winner, absolutely stunk for the first 3 quarters of this game. He was doing another one of those, I'm not going to show up until crunch time moments. And it didn't pay off for him, because by the time they got to the fourth quarter, they were down 20, and he could not jack up enough ugly form jump shots to get his team ahead. But let me break down some stats for you. Indiana shot 35% in the first half. That's absolute shit. 26-12 points in the paint in favor of OKC in the first half. That's absolute shit. Halliburton, 1 of 5. 3 points in the first half. Guess what? That's absolute shit.
Yeah.
If Indiana's going to have any chance of getting this, they have to show up for 4 quarters and can't wait to put the gas on in with 10 minutes left in order to get a Larry O'Brien trophy. So I don't know what you thought about the performance in game 2 by Indiana, but I was pretty much just like, yeah, this is exactly what we expected from you guys before game 1. And you're making game 1 look like an anomaly that you were really lucky to get.
Yeah, I think Halliburton waited too long to get the engine revving, like you said, and then time you hit the fourth quarter with 9 minutes left, that's not enough you're pushing superhero status stuff when you're down like that. He's got to be more aggressive from the beginning. I understand the idea of getting in there again and, getting OKC off guard and maybe not being super aggressive the first 5 minutes of the game and distributing the ball and getting your team in a flow. I'm cool with that. But they didn't do that. He kind of just stayed off with the ball, and he was in there with that hockey assist type thing and helping rotate the ball. But as your best player on your team and the guy who really is your spark plug, he's got to be more aggressive in the first half. That's not going to do it.
He did a whole lot of penetrate and kick, and he needed to penetrate and shoot.
Yeah,
at least get to the free throw line and earn some points at the stripe. There was no level of alpha in Halliburton for the first 3 quarters of this game, and it was really disappointing to see because we know what he's capable of. We see him with that dog in him in the last 2 minutes of games. And we've seen it throughout these playoffs and throughout the years even. Like, we now have historical data to show Halliburton could get it done. But in the first 3 quarters of game 2, he was nowhere near that. And the fact that that is still something that he does is mind-boggling to me. If you're going to be the best player on the best team in the East, you can't have games like that at all. You have to show up 100% of the time. And it's like, is there something else bothering him? Is he secretly injured? Did he smoke some ayahuasca before the game? No. I don't know. Like, I don't know what's going on with him, man. But I was just not feeling it. And OKC looks like they may just do a gentleman's sweep.
Yeah, Halliburton did look like the yeah, man. You just, maybe it's we won one out there. We're playing with house money tonight. Let's see. I still don't like that mentality of like, let's see how it goes and then we'll punt it early. And I don't think that the Pacers are that type of team, but the way to describe the way he kind of came out was almost like a little bit of like, oh man, well, hey, we got one out here. But the way, if now OKC, if Chet's gonna play his average Chet playoff game, and even Jay Will's gonna do that, this team's gonna be, because they obviously played much better tonight. They played more to their median, and then you have guys like Caruso 20 off the bench, which he's capable of doing. But then Wiggins had 5 threes. He came out and he was shooting the ball. There was a point where 17 minutes, he's got 18 points. Like, I was like, shit, his plus minus is probably insane right now. And you have those kind of guys who step up who are those like third tier players. And obviously your other two play to their average. OKC is going to be hard to beat. I mean, yeah, you got to go do it in somebody else's house, but this is the test that you want to be an NBA champ. You have to go into the other house and get a win. So,
I mean, they did. They did in game 1, but again,
I mean OKC. OKC going back. Yeah, they gotta obviously prove that they can do that, which I feel they can. They're just so deep, and when they're in a groove like that, I mean, there are still some times where I'm like, damn it, get back in the key. There was Shea had a nice pick. He's going to the right of the floor. He's at the free throw. It's pretty much open, and it was a pass out to another 3, and I was just kind of like, ooh. I get it, you guys. It's hard to tell a team when they're rolling what to do, but I mean, they look good when they're playing at their best and they're that active. And the first 5 minutes of the game, though, today was like, it was so fast. I felt like they were all juiced up off Mountain Dews.
They had a Monster energy drink ahead of the game.
Man, all of them were don't. It's like, dude, guys, slow down.
It's like my kids when they have sugar early in the day, and they're for the rest of the day they're just like, hey dad.
That's
whereas everybody on the court today was like, rebound, shot, pass, dribble.
Yeah, everybody.
By the way, that plus minus for Wiggins, plus 24.
Yeah, crazy.
And
he
had the highest plus minus out of anybody on OKC today.
Man, and to think like, for everybody out there, like, this is capable from anybody. Like, the fact that he's not like the whole point is that every team there is this like there is room to be a hero of a game, and you're not in the rotation or you're not one of the big wig. Like, he's a prime example. You shoot the ball well. He played good defense. I forgot the other dude's name with the dreads. He was playing great perimeter defense too. I mean, you have guys bought in who aren't even. It's all effort again. These dudes don't stop and hit shots like that. That's like huge plus if you're OKC. You're like, geez.
Yeah. So let's run down some stats. Chet Holmgren, and I got some thoughts on him, but I'll wait a second to do that. Chet, 6 of 11, 15 points, +4, plus minus. Only 6 ribbies.
How many blocks? 1?
1 block.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And 2 turnovers. Jalen Williams, only 5 of 14 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3, but 19 points, 8 of 9 from the free throw line. Your MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 11 of 21 from the field, solid percentage.
Yeah.
1 of 4 from 3, no big deal, only 4 threes. 11 of 12 from the free throw line, solid. 8 assists, solid. He was
He had
34
4 steals, right?
and 4 steals. Yep. +5, plus minus 34
Wow.
points in total.
Yeah,
And and in the second half, it looked like he was just coasting. Like he was
Right
toying
to
with
his
these
spots.
guys, playing with this food, getting
Yeah.
whatever shot he wanted. He was getting separation, hitting a mid-range. By the way, Richard Jefferson on the broadcast called it
Yeah.
a midi.
Oh,
He called it a midi, and I like that.
yeah.
Not to praise ESPN too much because I have some thoughts on them too. But
Yes, you don't. They're gassing the teams too much. But that's because the other
Gassing.
guys at TNT are always talking so much shit. That's the whole, like, you heard the whole conversation, right? It's about it's your product, and yes, you're allowed to. There's a fine line, be able to criticize or like judge, of course. That's what they're supposed to be doing. But then at the same time, the respect factor,
there needs to be a healthy balance, I think.
Exactly. And
Like
sometimes
I think what the TNT guys do, like a lot of people might be turned off from it. I personally enjoy it. I love it.
yeah.
But I think that the ESPN crews tend to, like you said, gas up the players, gas up the teams to the point of like they're like used car salesmen trying to sell me a lemon. And it's like I'm not buying it, man. Like I'm not.
That's because the commercials that are on that same network are trashing the shit out of them and saying, you got the worst cars ever out there. How could you sell these cars? ESPN game announcers, how are you going to sell these cars? These guys are trash. It's terrible. It's terrible. I was in the green room snacking. I wasn't even watching the whole fucking game. And I don't know. Did you see
Because that's
the
what
back
most
and
people
forth?
are doing, man.
And a lot, but then
they're
but
getting
then it
a
goes.
snack. They're taking their bathroom breaks in the middle of the second quarter. They don't care.
But they're
People
not
don't care about this series.
But you got no. I'm just saying this is TNT's doing this through a bunch of series that's been called. But it's the whole thing of like, again, why we talked about how some players are not going. They're going to give you the generic default answers to those big, those big company, those big interviews, whatever, and you're going to get the real deal from ex-players, people they trust more, people that actually don't trash the shit out of them, because
I mean,
how you get, there's a, hey,
I am all for calling a spade a spade. Like I do not want to be fed bullshit, and I feel like ESPN serves up too much bullshit. ESPN
only on
and
the
ABC
broadcast.
And Disney.
Only on the broadcast. That's what I'm asking you. Is it just the broadcast or all over their platforms?
All over their platforms.
But I don't feel like they gas players up all of their platforms.
Well, yeah. Have you heard of Stephen A. Smith?
Yeah, all he does is talk out his ass.
They all talk out their ass.
But it's mostly negative. On the broadcast, it's mostly positive. Yes. Doris and Richard are over there and they're pump it up, baby, pump it up. Pump, right? But then on the other side, when you're on Stephen A. telenovela series of sports novicia, sports activities, man, please, bro. The problem, the whole point, that was his novella sports intro. That's his novella sports intro of all the emotion that's always coming out. I mean, it's like, bro, come on, dude. Please. And then it's another thing. I don't know. I get all the, we got to keep it spicy on the debate shows, but guys like Stephen A. is like that old man at the park who had a little flash of like, oh, hey, he had a summer where he had a great shooting summer, right? Hey, big fucking deal. That does not mean you're Pee Wee Kirkland. You have not been running these courts your whole fucking life, okay? Or even back in the day. So Jamie Foxx hit the brakes back in the day, right? I don't want to imitate it because I'm not as good as him. I don't want to botch it. But that's so to me, it's too different. It's the telenovela sports series at ESPN with Professor this is Stephen Alfonso, and then it's a little gassing up on the main stage.
I gotta say, man, your Spanish accent is wonderful. And if we could make a Hoostine Aguas.
It's Hoostine.
Hoostine Aguas.
Yeah. Aguas.
Solo para ti. Like, if you could do that, can you hit me with the impersonation one more time?
Wait. Do you want to know what I always tell my son?
What?
Soy tu papá. Soy tu papá. Oh yeah, I get into the yeah. I gotta let him know.
Like Gaylord Fucker and Meet the Parents. Soy tu
yeah. Sometimes you gotta let him know. Mi español is, it's un poquito, but
by the way,
muy importante.
By the way, your head is starting to get cut off in the video frame. I can't see you.
We got to fix this. It's getting so hot and spicy in here.
There we go.
I got tapatio flying everywhere like rain.
Your face is all red. It's like you swallowed up some hot sauce.
Hey, it's summertime, and the 818, buddy.
Summertime.
That means Rooster Red is here. It's
Hoostine Aguas, muy caliente.
Yes, Los Noticias 62. That's the channel. The channel we're on.
That's great.
Sometimes
I can't even. How do I follow that up, man? How do I follow that up?
Game 3.
Game 3.
Game 3.
Oh, so Game 3 is moving to Indiana. The Cracker Box theme house, field house.
That's what it's called.
Cracker Jack box. I don't
know the name, but it looks like Indianish,
It does look Indianish. It actually looks like an old school gym from the outside.
Which is nice for where they're from and everything. I kind of like that these civil engineers put some thought into it, and it just,
Gamebridge Field House.
Oh yeah.
That's what it's called. And also the Indiana Fever play there. Caitlin Clark.
I like that logo. I saw her with a hoodie, one of those, just the ball on fire. I was like, whoa, that's nice.
Yeah.
It's on my Christmas list.
But it does, again, their stadium looks like a warehouse from the outside. Not a fan of it.
It's like a factory. Well, basketball factory.
Who's at the mill? The Indiana Pacers. That's who.
Their ancestors, dude. The founding forefathers of that land.
Why is it my dog always barks when I do the podcast? It's always something.
What's he sensing?
Nothing. Probably a squirrel.
There you go. See? Protection.
Anyway, Game 3. Gonna go ahead and pick OKC again because reasons.
Lay them out.
Let's talk some odds.
What is Vegas saying?
What's
Pesci saying?
Let's go to FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook tells us that OKC is now minus 560 to win the finals.
Okay.
The Indiana Pacers are plus 420. Here's some advice, degenerate gambler friends. Stay away from that bet.
Stay away.
Stay away from it because Indiana's not going to win.
You don't think they?
No, not at all.
One game they can steal, they would really put
dude, they got
pressure on too.
Here's the thing, like game 1 was, I felt like game 1 was OKC playing with their food for 3 quarters and then like taking them too easily, and then Indiana just like really revving it up until the very last second. Game 2, they stepped away from game 1, said, okay, we now saw what they can do. Let's not let that happen in game 2. What do you know? Game 2 comes. OKC says, fuck that. We're not going to have a repeat of game 1. They blow them out by 20. It was like the We Beat the Dream Team documentary. Remember how the college kids came in and they beat the Dream Team? They were all high on themselves, and the very next day they came back to play the same team and got absolutely trounced. Yeah, that was kind of
like
that.
I like the coach had a couple good little timeouts too here and there where they started to make a little run, 14 up. He calls a timeout.
Wait, are we talking about the Dream Team?
OKC.
Okay.
No. Today, yeah.
Today
he there was a couple of times where he was like, "No, I'm not gonna we're calling a timeout. We're not gonna let this thing get down to 10 and then I call a timeout. It's 14. They got a little momentum." He had a couple good, Mark Davanoff, whatever his name is, had a couple good timeouts today that kind of tried to also halt some of their momentum, even if it was a 7-2 run or they had a couple little runs where they cut into the lead. They were up, 23 or something, 22, and then it got to 13. They got to call a timeout, like, relax. But still, it's one of those things where, like, the Pacers, at least they earned that respect, right? Where they've earned the respect that they don't die. They won't just willingly, like, you got to take them out to the back.
They went on a little 10-0 run in the second quarter. Like, yeah, good for them.
Yeah.
Guess what? They still got beat by 20.
Well, yeah, like, 20's not,
or 20's also not. I apologize. Not 20.
Not 30.
16. They got beat by 16. They were down by as much as 23.
Yeah, anything under 20, 18 and under is still, last 6 minutes of the game, it's still catchable in the NBA.
In the NBA, yeah. But I felt like I was watching this at like 5:50 something left in the fourth, and you could see you could see it all over Indy's faces. Like, they just were broken. Had no answer for anything. Did you notice something else? Did you notice that nobody could hold on to the ball today? Like, guys were getting passes and it was going right through their hands. Like, I noticed that a number of times today.
And only in the beginning, right? I noticed it more in the beginning.
Yeah. Like, and not just Indiana, like OKC too. Like, Chet was receiving a pass. It went right through his scarecrow hands.
Jay Williams had a couple of those too early. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was the nerves. Maybe they're actually feeling some of this nervousness, because there's got to be that, like, you just don't want to start a game off on the wrong foot, So sometimes guys are pressing and just trying to do too much in that beginning. And then your nerves, and remember they were off of 9 Mountain Dew, so all that shit together.
Mountain Dews, Monsters, and Coffee Bean.
Yeah, that's not going to help.
2 espresso shots. Okay. Shea's going to win the MVP. We know this.
This is why Halliburton has to put that. I mean, not that he has to match him and go back and forth, but he's got to put up numbers that are kind of similar. I mean, he's their superstar point guard. He's their 100%, motor.
100%.
He's got to be more aggressive. And I think, though, for the Pacers are going back home, and they're not totally defeated either. They could give a shit if they lost by 20 or 1. They're going back 1-1, and they're going home. So their mentality, though, is still going to be, to me, I think they're in, like, all right, they don't feel like they're out of it. If they get trounced in game 3, that's a little bit more of like, oh shit, these dudes are on my neck. They're on our neck now. Like, it's do or die type shit. But I don't think that they're at that desperation mode yet. They're going back home. It's 1-1. They technically did their job, right?
Okay.
Go get the split.
Yeah,
come back home.
The job is to win the finals.
Yeah.
The task is to leave OKC with at least a split, and they did do that. Are we still thinking this goes 6?
Damn. I mean, after tonight, you want to go, no, it's 5, but I still think the Pacers, I'm not ready to just jump off the bridge of their little run. I still think they got a little more left. I don't think that they're going to go and get knocked out in the early rounds. I'm hoping they can get to the 8th or 9th round, metaphorically speaking, boxing terms, but then, and that means 6 games at least. I think they still have that. We'll see. I think they could get one of the games at home, and then it starts to get kind of interesting.
So that's 6 then.
Yeah, so I still think that it can go 6.
Okay.
But like I said, if they get their ass whooped in game 3, it's going to be hard for me to move. I mean, it's not going to be hard to move off that.
If they get worked in game 3, I'm thinking gentlemen sweep 4-1.
Then it could, I could easily.
Some more odds for you. I'm just full of odds gambling today. If it goes 4-1, FanDuel has it at plus 186 for OKC.
Man.
If it goes 6, plus 290.
Wow, he's losing money the more further it goes. It's not making a lot in the beginning. Jeez.
I mean, it's something. You throw $100 down on that, you have a nice little return. Some conservative spending, conservative winning. It's not bad. Yeah.
Gambler talk.
Gambler talk. Yeah, I just, I'm fascinated by that because, when the NBA started allowing gambling, FanDuel and DraftKings and all these companies started becoming more and more involved in the games to the point where they're just like, they're sponsors now. Like they invest in visibility for their brands on these NBA programs. So it's just interesting to see how much more this plays into basketball than it did like 10 years ago. It's so much different now. And I'm good with it. I'm good with it. Like I am not a member of the Associated Press. I am no longer a journalist. I am just a simple man podcasting with this buddy. And
you're always
saying,
a journalist.
I don't know.
You don't need a piece of paper for that.
I mean, listen, I no longer have sources on my beat. Like I haven't written an article in 6 years.
You got sources right here. You got all the source. You got a little bit of source right here.
Hit fob.
All right. Well, it's time for Dodger baseball, everybody. Come on. It's not that hard.
And in fairness, your drawstring is kind of covering the D, and it looks like an O. Okay, so from a distance, it looks like from an O.
From a distance, and well, get up closer, bro, man. Put on your damn meta goggles or whatever you need out here, brother.
Hold on,
and check that out. Put that in.
My eyes are going bad. I'm not gonna lie.
Whoa.
No, they are. Dude, get this. I was sitting in my recliner watching the game, and as I was looking at my phone, I had readers on. I am officially old.
Yeah. Nice.
I am my
That's called preventative maintenance. That's what you're doing right there.
Preventative maintenance.
That's smart.
That's kicking my feet up because I got back pain. That's what that is.
It's also preventative maintenance. It's a smart move.
I mean,
your back thanks you.
My back screams at me daily. All right. So I'm kind of inclined to pick OKC in 6. And it's not just because of the plus 290. It's because you're right. I think if Indy could steal one at home, and I say steal one at home, like that's like a very difficult thing to do, but it is because it's OKC. I think that would be an interesting bet. And I know you're not a betting guy, but I am.
No.
And I may just throw some money down. We'll see.
Whoa. To be continued.
Well, I'll let you know. When's game 3? Game 3's Wednesday. Okay.
Wednesday.
I got some time to decide.
The game's at 5 too, huh?
5:30. Yeah, 5:30. Which means they tip off at like 5:41 or some shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk ratings. Okay. So game 1. So let me rewind a little bit. On our last podcast, I talked about this series not doing more than 4 or 5 million viewers. I was wrong. Accepting accountability.
Pillar.
They pretty much doubled it. 8.9 million viewers on average for game 1. Okay. It peaked at 11 million. Great. Here's the bad news.
Well,
that average rating is the lowest since 1988 for game 1.
Ooh.
So what we're saying is even the Spurs Pistons series in the early 2000s did better than this. And by the way, I should also say without the COVID years, because the COVID years just, we're throwing in a wrench that absolutely changes everything. But if you subtract those 2 years, 1988 is the last time it was this low. And this is exactly what I was talking about. I was off in terms of like predicting the number between 4 and 5 million was like way under, but it's still an issue. And I honestly feel like ESPN is largely to blame for this. And I'll give you a few reasons why. Their broadcasts are not great. Listening to them talk at halftime, Malika Andrews, I think, is great. But these other guys, like, I cannot get down with. Like, they're just yelling back and forth. Like, God forbid they throw Stephen A into the mix and it just becomes becomes nonsense.
Deportiva.
Deportiva. There's no pregame show. There's no hype there's no video package ahead of the broadcast to really showcase what people are tuning into. Like, you remember the NBA on NBC, how they had Marv Albert doing voiceover for different cuts of Jordan and the Knicks and Reggie Miller, Michael Jordan. Like, they had all those types, and then they jumped right into Round Ball Rock, and that was great. ESPN has done none of that. ABC has done none of that, and it's really, I feel like it's really taking away from the product that they're trying to sell. And mind you, the broadcast crew is trying to gas it up and they're trying to sell it, but they're also working with a product that isn't very presentable. Like, they're depending straight on the broadcast team telling viewers, hey, this guy is so great. He is great. And there's no hype video to really, to really gas it up, as we like to say. And here's the thing, like, this is why I know that kind of thing would be beneficial to the NBA broadcasts, like the hype videos and things. Think of all those different, this guy was a problem clips on TikTok and Instagram of dudes who were like super average back in the day, like Jason Williams. I love Jason Williams. But he had a lot of flaws in his game, right? But, somebody supercuts a bunch of J Will passes, and all of a sudden, like, to the viewing audience, he looks like this legend who just never got the respect that he deserved. Like,
he still got a ring too.
He did
get his ring
later on in his career. But you know what I'm saying, though? Like, Jay Williams was a very mid-level player when it came to, like, how good his career was. The supercuts on Instagram tell a different story. Now, if we got supercuts leading into these games on the finals, they would probably sell the product that much better if they used them, but they don't use them at all. There's nothing that allows viewers to say, hey, I should be really excited for this. Nothing. And the other thing too, I'm sorry, go ahead, make your point.
No, I think that, some people that they got rid of at ESPN, I don't think helped their cause the last few years. Like, I liked watching Jalen and Jacoby, for example. I liked the way they covered basketball and kind of did their sports thing. They got rid of them. They got rid of Max Kellerman before that. There's just other people who were doing, who were like more entertaining and at least like watchable, and wasn't kind of the Skip Baylesses of the world and that extra dramatic, emotional, just trash player shit. So I don't think that helped them either. But I like your idea. I mean, those putting clips like that and highlighting other players, because obviously these kids, like, I think that these kids see the big guys. They see them on Instagram. They see them on TikTok. They know who the big players are. But yeah, the NBA should also do that highlighting of, look, like we talked about, it's a team, and this dude is one of the best perimeter defenders in the team. Dude, show that clip of him. Like, you want kids to know and see it. A lot of everything is visual now. So, hey, put up a little clip of that. That's a great idea. And I think that when it moves to Channel 4, hopefully that they're going to come,
NBC,
or NBC, that they're going to, that's how old school I am, that they're going to have that nostalgic feel, but then also enough where it's not like we're just too grandpa-ing it, but at the same time pointing out like that side of basketball. Because this year too, ESPN didn't have, the last couple of years, they didn't have, I remember they used to have NBA Tonight was like damn near in the league during regular season, at least 3-4 times a week that shit was on. And you'd be able to go there and watch all the NBA highlights of that night. And for the past few years, that's gone. That's not there anymore. So things like that, it's like you have the contract, but you're not helping yourself. I don't know. I think that they just got rid of, as far as who they kept for talent, who they thought was cool and who wasn't. I think that also was the first kind of part of ESPN where you're like, dude, what is it? It became, it's like sliding into that Jerry Springer atmosphere. Like, when they started off, it was a crazy, cringy talk show, but like it got all the way over to what the fuck is going on.
Jerry Springer really leaned in. They leaned into the dumpster fire.
Yes.
And
then it became completely dumpster.
but the NBA is not, it's not a dumpster fire. right?
No,
They
no,
can't
no, not
lean
at
into
all.
that. They need to lean into the talent that they have and marketing and promoting the talent that they have. I just don't think they do a good enough job of that. I think they've focused too much on letting third-party advertisers come in and provide a bunch of advertising money to them to make a more valuable league, which, they've successfully done, but at what cost? Like, for example, remember when we were talking about the NBA Finals logo on the court?
Yeah.
So last game, completely void of it. This game,
I put the hologram.
They put the freaking digital imprint on the court. First quarter and third quarter were the Larry O'Brien trophy. The second quarter and fourth quarter were the NBA Finals logo presented by YouTube TV. They had to smack a sponsor on that too. And that just seemed like a cheap, like catering to fans. Now, don't get me wrong, like fans humming up and down Twitter saying that what the fuck are they doing? And this really pisses me off. That's
they made
one
a dope
thing.
hat too.
What are you
They
talking?
made a dope hat. Somebody made a dope hat about that whole thing. Why?
Did they?
I think I sent it to you. It says, why didn't you have the logos? It's like a hat and it's written all the way across and it says finals
bring
with the
NBA
finals logo.
logos back or something like that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, but that's part of it. The NBA Finals is supposed to be the most prestigious part of the NBA season, and they're making it look like any other fucking NBA game that we have throughout the year.
You think it's because it's the end? It's their last hurrah. It's their last series.
It's not their last hurrah.
ESPN's after this year. They're still doing games next year.
Yes.
How many games? So they're going to have.
As a matter of fact, the NBA on TNT crew, they're going
just
to
moving
ESPN.
to ESPN. Yeah.
Yeah.
So ESPN is going to have still like it is now.
Yeah, they're going to share
two games a week
rights. They're going to share broadcast rights with NBC,
Peacock, and NBC.
And Peacock.
So NBC though. So what does that mean? Like NBC is going to put the games on, like today, only on the finals. We're going to get it on Channel 4. But if there's a broadcast network TV show on Channel 4, you got to go to Peacock to watch the game. You're not going to be able to just watch it on.
We don't know exactly how it's going to work out for that. That information might be out there. I honestly don't know, but they're going to diversify how they deliver the content. So it's going to be between ESPN, ABC, NBC, Peacock, and I think another stream. I think Prime, if I'm not mistaken. Prime might be the fifth broadcast partner.
Well, they're
or
together.
The broadcast
Peacock
platform.
Peacock owns NBC, right?
Peacock owns NBC.
Yeah,
no,
so
the other way around.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to give us another problem. We're going to have to subscribe to all these various platforms just to take in NBA content. And it's frustrating. Like you have to have Peacock. You have to have ESPN on cable or satellite. You have to have you have to have a package that includes local channels, and it's like, dude, they've diversified the content delivery so much that it just becomes a whole shit show of just trying to watch a game. Like, where do I go? It's not just one place, maybe even two places. No, it's like 5 different places now.
Yeah. Why doesn't does League Pass have the rights to actually show every game, even if it's a network game? Oh, see, so then they'd be able to.
So, like, for example, this past season, if something was on TNT, League Pass would not be allowed to show it because it's on TNT. But if you have HBO Max, or it will be HBO Max this summer, it was Max for the last few years, you can, if it's broadcast on TNT, you could also catch it on Max streamed. And that's what I do. Like, I don't have cable. I haven't had cable for years. So I've, subscribed to these different streaming platforms, and TNT games I could watch on Max. But now that TNT's gone, Max is not as valuable for me in terms of NBA content.
Yeah.
So like now it's like, oh, now I gotta go over here and I gotta now subscribe to this one and fucking which email am I using again? Like, it's too much,
Yeah.
man. It's too
Yeah. That's
much,
a lot.
and they don't give a shit.
No, because they're getting
they
paid
have a
from every.
they're getting all this brand new money from these TV partners.
That's
They're
why they're not
fucking
really
ecstatic.
worried about these ratings. I don't feel anyway because they know that their product is still getting
Well,
it's
but
still
here's the
getting
thing:
to these
is
people
that
through streams and all this other online. They're still getting that. They're still getting their jersey sales up and all this other stuff. So I
well,
feel like it's
that's not the
you
thing
know
though, Justin. What it is that when the ratings go lower, and the biggest outlets that you have now have less of an audience, your product becomes less valuable. So when you go to the table to collectively bargain, you are then losing leverage.
but they got
They will
10 years
pay.
now. They
Well, I
got their
mean,
big money, so now
yeah,
they're
but
chilling.
if this trend
They got
continues,
time.
the
Yeah,
next broadcast deal might not be exactly what they hope or what they project, and
yeah.
that's what hurts the league. And honestly, like, I don't know.
They got.
I don't know if I even give a shit anymore.
I mean, 10 years. I'll start tracking back in about 5, see if there's any difference, see if
Hey,
because there's still,
the only thing I'm concerned about is whether this podcast makes it onto one of those broadcasts or one of those streams. That's all I give a shit about.
yeah,
If we and you could be good cop and I'll be bad cop. You could guess and I will talk shit and we'll have that perfect balance.
oh, namaste. I didn't even say it right.
Not this day.
There it is. Not this day.
Not
That's
but
what you tell
say.
your. That's what you tell your competition. Not this
Yeah.
day. That's right.
Not
I like
today.
that.
Oh, you know what movie I saw yesterday?
What?
Princess
What?
Bride.
Well,
Yeah.
throwback.
My name is Inigo Montoya. You
Whoa.
killed my father. Prepare
Oh.
to die.
Prepare to die.
My name is
Love-
Inigo Montoya. You killed
Oh
my
my God.
father. Prepare to die.
It's time to go. Do a little ad lib on that. We should
Well,
ad
I
lib
mean,
movie scenes. That'd be cool.
shit. Anybody want to pay me
Something.
money? I'll do it for it.
Yeah, that's true. Voiceover work. I'm ready.
I'll do the kindergarten cop thing.
Going to play a wonderful game called Who is Your Daddy and What Does He Do?
Let's do
What does he do?
it. Anyway, yeah, I watched that thinking, okay, I need to watch some nostalgic stuff. I'm hoping NBC can give me the same feeling once they get the NBA product
I'm
back.
sure they're gonna mix that in the recipe. I
I know they're bringing back Round Ball Rock, so
Yeah,
that's good.
Jordan will be there. I heard a rumor. I don't know
Okay.
online that he's gonna be critical of the drive and kick basketball.
Oh.
Supposedly,
Yeah.
That's-
I mean, we talk about that. In
No,
fact,
yeah.
like, in fact, while I was watching the game tonight, I was saying, drive and kick, drive and kick, drive and kick. I fucking hate this basketball.
yeah. But man, it's like it's a part of basketball that obviously is needed. I feel like it's just sometimes it's overused, or it's like beat to death kind of thing, and it's like, dude, you guys could
Well, that's
anybody
the
you
only
could
thing
still
they're
expand.
doing, it seems.
Yeah,
And that's part of the problem. And I
Yeah.
think that's what generates this kind of criticism is that teams are regularly going to everybody just stand around the three. Let me penetrate. Let me try to shake this dude. Let me cross him up and I'll penetrate and I'll kick out to one of you. And they all
Yeah.
jump to pass every single time.
yeah. That's another thing I noticed. The Pacers do a lot of that. They do I mean, Halliburton does it a lot. He's kind of, I guess, mastered it to a certain extent where he's not turning the ball over a lot. But I see McConnell, they tend to jump and pass a lot.
Yeah, it's too much. And for years, we've been told, don't jump and pass. What does
Yeah.
every penetrator and kicker do?
Yep.
They jump and pass.
Back to the basics.
By the way, remember when we were talking about whether Jordan said his fan base is toxic?
Yes.
Okay. So, as you know, he's going to be a special contributor on NBC's NBA broadcasts. Here's where I'm raising a question about that. about whether he said his fan base is toxic. It was according to sources.
Goddamn sources.
Okay.
Could be a talking bird for all we know, right?
It could be. Here's what the story says according to Yahoo Sports.
Let's hear it.
According to sources, finger quotes, Jordan had ulterior motives and a vision to fulfill by asking for this role with NBC. He did not simply want a paycheck, but wanted to change the narrative around the NBA. According to an associate close to NBC's production, so there's your anonymous source, quote, Mike told us flat out, if hearing it from him is what it takes for these fans to stop disrespecting guys like LeBron, Steph, or even Harden, I love that, then so be it. He wants the game to move forward. Fandom has gotten so warped. They hate today's game, present company included, but still watch every second. They say it's not physical enough, but they ignore how advanced players have become. True fact. Players have become a lot more athletic. And they use Jordan like a weapon in every conversation. It's delusional.
Some self-awareness, MJ.
Well, this is not him being quoted. This is
The guy
secondary.
saying that.
This is the anonymous source.
MJ, if that's how you feel. Wow. I like that.
This era has some of the most skilled players we've ever seen. It's time fans start appreciating that. Here's my thing. I feel as someone who used to be a journalist, I feel like this story is being purposely cooked up. Like
the anticipation of NBC.
To combat exactly what you're talking about, the shit talking about the game. Right? So they have this anonymous source say, hey, we talked to Jordan and he told us directly, people are disrespecting LeBron and Steph. They need to be more respectful. This era has some great skilled players and it's time fans appreciate that. Does that sound like Jordan to you? After everything we've heard from Michael Jordan over the years, as little as we've gotten still, but as competitive as he was and as much shit as he talked, do you really think he would say people need to start respecting LeBron and Steph? This NBA is full of skilled players and they need to know that. Do we really think Jordan says something like that?
I mean, you go with your gut, you're probably thinking no.
Yes.
Jordan was a guy who would.
Jordan was a psycho.
Yeah, I mean, he was like Kobe. Yeah, there were guys that's the guy. I always talk about what you say. Who's the best player ever? You're like, if you literally were out there in the field and you were in the army and this was your guy leading the charge. Like some guys may want LeBron's type style. That's awesome. But like as the time that we grew up, obviously, I'm picking Jordan. Right? Or I'm picking Kobe because I know, oh man, this dude's he's gonna do whatever it takes and he'll die for us, right? Not taking away from the other guy. I just like that style as whatever. And obviously Jordan was that guy who would be like, there's no excuses. We're doing whatever it is. Fast forward now, however old he is, maybe now time. That's how you see how it is. Like these gangsters after they hit 40, 50, 60, they're like, hey man, I learned a lot, and I'm telling you that this isn't it. That I was young and dumb. Da, 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 da. Maybe he does see that he's like literally godlike, right? I mean, the guy's shoes still outsell everybody. So there's probably a egotistical part of him that's like, I'm untouchable anyway. We know that I'm untouchable. Nobody can. I'm untouchable. And maybe because he loves the game so much, he does care about the NBA. Maybe he's like, hey, you know what, guys? Hey, he's back a little bit, huh? It's okay. I'm golden.
I'm not sure.
He's dipped in gold.
I'm not sure Michael Jordan cares enough about the NBA to say that. I'm being genuine here.
I don't think about the league, no, but I think it's more about the game, and I think that he doesn't want to be looked at necessarily as Jordan.
Here's my take on Jordan's like contribution. It'll be just like Shaq and Barkley. Like I genuinely feel like, in terms of the shit talking, Like,
Yo,
he's
yeah,
going to
but
be the opposite, exactly the opposite of what this article is saying. Like, he's going to be like, back when I played, like that's going to be Mike. And we're
I
talking
think
about we're talking about the same guy who retired
he's gonna
in
critique.
1999. Well, no, he retired in 99, and when he was busted up knees and everything, came back again simply so he could show that he's better than the guys in the league currently. That's the same guy.
So the guys who are borderline and below, which like, hey, they're not the greatest guys. Yeah, he's still going to talk shit to them. I think that he's not just going to have that same energy for those younger guys who need it. Yeah, he'll talk shit, and he's not going to shy away from that. But I think that the other side of that is these dudes who are tenured in for the last 10 years who have been killing 12, 15, the Stephs, the LeBrons, even like he said, even the Hardens, whatever. I think that he's going to be like, you know what? No, I'm not shitting on them the same way I'm going to shit on these young guys who are taking those little back routes and whatever. And guys are going to get talked shit about by Michael fucking Jordan. Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's where he's going to push more of that. These dudes, stop talking shit about them. Don't give me the bullshit comparisons in the era. These dudes are great. They just deserve to be celebrated, to be great. I'm not putting in a 1 through 5. Stop the narrative of talking shit about these dudes and comparing them to me. I think he might stand up for that part. Will he still talk shit to dudes who need it and guys who act fucking totally ridiculous and did some dumbass shit like when he smacked Malik Monk on the sideline? Yeah, I think that Jordan is going to come out. But then at the same time, with the guys who have already proven that, like, hey, these are badass fucking guys. They weren't in my generation, in my class, but these dudes deserve that.
I'm not buying it for a second.
Well, he's layered, bro. Michael's layered. He's just not. Everything is not Terminator. Kill everything.
He is
kill
a
everything.
psycho.
Keep moving.
He
was a psycho.
No, he still is, man.
He's not as psycho as a 24-year-old psycho. Now he's a little bit.
Now he's worse. Now he's a 65-year-old psycho.
Yeah, but I don't think I'm telling you what he will talk shit to the guys who need to be talked shit about. But there's some guys he's gonna be like, they're untouchable. Stop talking shit about them, because you guys who are doing all this shit talking are fucking up their reputation, the league's reputation. Talk shit about the guys who, need to be talked shit about. Don't talk about the good guys. I'm sick of this crap. You don't think Michael can do that? Michael can do it.
Justin,
I believe in you, Michael. Holler at me.
I appreciate how optimistic you are and how much
half full.
You do look at things half full.
You got to. Life's fucking terrible at times, man. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so it can be half full. You silver lining, buddy, silver.
But again,
platinum.
Spade is a spade.
No, everything is not black and white, Eric. Everything.
I'm not saying it's black and white. I'm just saying what shit is shit, and you should call it shit.
He's going to. But you're not. He's not. But he's not going to call Steph shit.
Here's my prediction. No, I don't think
guys shit.
I don't think he's going to call Steph shit. Just for the record,
he's going to stop the narrative of talking shit and comparing those dudes. He's going to let them.
I 100% feel like he at one point is going to say, like, I would have been able to take it, like, or something like that. Like, even about like the guys that you're propping up right now. My thing is, I think he'll go on there, and initially they'll try to feed him some lines about, we need to stop with the debate, da. But if he continues to be a contributor on a regular basis, the real MJ is going to come out, and he's going to talk shit, and he's going to be comparative, and he's going to say, no, back in my day, and just totally rain on the parade, just like Shaq and Barkley do on Inside the NBA. Like,
but not for the big guys. There's going to be levels. There's levels. There's going to be redefined levels by Michael Jordan.
Okay.
So then we can.
See. I guess time will tell.
Yes.
And we'll save it for then. Time will tell.
Let's do it. I believe in you, Michael. Tell these little fucking kids, man. Let them know.
I can fly. Sorry.
Wow. Seal's in the building.
That's not Seal. That's
That wasn't Seal didn't sing that song?
That was R. Kelly who sang that.
Fly. I believe I could fly was R. Kelly. Well,
that was R. Kelly. Oh. The now disgraced R. Kelly.
Yeah. He's been for a minute.
Yeah, he and Diddy are sharing a cell with baby oil.
That's oh man. Meant for each other.
Oh yeah. They're in the same fraternity.
God.
Lubed up. Anyway, Yeah, that's all I really got today, Ben. Not a whole lot to talk about other than game 2 was an absolute blowout in the finals. Well, not an absolute. It just didn't seem like Indiana was going to get very far.
Yeah, they controlled after that first few minutes of the game. They pretty much controlled it. You could kind of see it, but again, Pacers still got some. They're not defeated by any means. So hopefully, the game 3 is highly competitive, and because it's like a make or break,
Yep.
Because
I think they could potentially win one in Indy. I don't think they win more than one though. So it's 3 in a row in Indy, right? So it'll be.
Oh, I thought it was 2-2, 1-1-1.
2-2.
Because OKC should have more games. They should have 4.
OKC will have more games. So they played the first 2, and then 3.
Oh, it's 2-3-2.
I think it's 2-3-2.
Oh, so that almost gives the Pacers a advantage. Technically, they're going home for the next 3. That's insanity.
Okay, so I was incorrect. It is currently played with a 2-2-1-1-1 format. So game 6 will be in Indy.
Damn, OKC wants to win it on their home floor. This is for sure. So
yeah,
they may come out, but then again, you'll take a NBA championship on any floor.
I mean, yeah, but if they can really win it at OKC, I think they'd prefer that. So game 5, it would have to be a giant sweep at that point. Because if they won in game 6,
and 4.
Yeah.
We'll see, man.
I'm still hoping for 6 games. Hoping that plus 290 serves me well.
All right.
All right, man. Listen, we've done 3 podcasts in the last 7 days. You know that?
Yeah, man. I went to public school, but hell yeah, I can count, baby.
That's great. Yeah, we both went to public school. Actually, fun fact, I had a dream last night that we were back at Burroughs.
Doing what? Chilling?
No, we were
hooping,
pre-gaming. We were warming up and getting ready to play basketball game in our gym, and it was like really over the top, like pyrotechnics and like a big jumbo screen in the Burroughs gym, and
that's crazy.
They had like all our names and pictures up on the screens and things, like really good production. I was pissed off because I was coming off the bench.
I mean, I was talking to I went to go shoot around at Olive on Saturday. Seen a guy there, a kid. His name's Manny. He's not a kid anymore. He's an adult. Right. But he was like, man, I remember when you guys used to come down here. I used to when I was a little kid at the gym, and he was like, I remember you guys at Burroughs. You guys were selling out the small gym. I was like, yeah, it's a small gym now. It's crazy, right? And he was like, dude, you couldn't even get in there. I was like, yeah, I know. And with coaching, though, there's times that we're in that gym, both of them, the big one and the small one, which was our big gym at the time. And now the stairway up to the locker room is gone. It's kind of redefined how they kind of kept part of the building, but not all of it, And just being in there and coaching kids, it's like, damn, because our little patch is still up there on the wall behind, it was like,
oh, did we get a patch up there?
Yeah, that's the one that's in the rafters where it's got it says basketball, and then every time they won, it has the ball in the air in the middle. So we have ours up there.
So we're 99, right?
Yeah,
99's up there.
They actually won the year after too. They won the year after, so that was like. But then 3 years before that, always had really good competitive teams. Like we had a nice run, but anyway, it's a trip being in that gym. It's like full circle, but it's cool though.
I'll have to make my way back over there at some point. It'd be nice to see that.
I'll tell you when we have a Sunday and we're at Burroughs.
Yeah, let me know. I'll make the drive up.
It'll be cool because I usually coach like 3 or 4 games on Sunday. So,
oh boy, did you coach today?
No, we've been off for 2 weeks because we ended the last season a week and a half ago. We give them a couple weeks in between. A lot of kids are trying out for their high school teams and whatnot. And then we start up again, not the next Sunday, but the following Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So it's bad. I saw a couple of my kids at Olive. I was like, you know what? Hell yes. I like to see this. Like, we're going to see you. I was like, damn right. And when I see them, one of the kids in particular, I'm going to tell him like that, how proud I am to see him in the park playing basketball, and he's not with a trainer or doing nonsense. He's literally just there at the gym. Like, that's exactly what they need. Because I feel like we give them the tools and little things and little nuggets here and there. It's like, all right, use this now and go apply it to going to play against adults, going to play against other kids your age. Like, use it then when you're actually playing. I feel like it's a great time for kids to actually like learn basketball.
Here, here.
Yeah.
Here.
It's a whole nother podcast about the trainer, bad trainers, and trainers just jacking money, and then
we'll touch on that for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, we have
game industry stuff. Yeah, like there could be. I mean, we could spend hours. It's crazy how out of control it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all right, man. Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Shout out to everybody who's in the streets, man. Be careful, please.
Oh yeah,
a lot of nonsense happening.
Lots of clashes between law enforcement and ICE protesters. Hoping everybody's safe.
Yes,
don't want anybody to get hurt.
Do it safe, because the powers that be want it to be dirty, want it to fit a narrative. So we got to make sure as people that we're like on the same page, and that these young people who are out there too is like understand the bigger picture here. Like, it's good to protest, but we got to use our brain on this one too, because a lot of nonsense going on, who are supposed to be directing and being leaders and stuff. And, so you just got to just be safe, man. Because I know there's a lot of people out there, especially kids, a lot of kids who are scared. And that's the part that hurts the most, because there's kids who are genuinely scared. Kids I've had to, work with these kind of kids, some of these kids. So like, to think that they're shook and their parents are good people is crazy. I just feel for that kind of department,
Yeah, let's hoping for the best in that arena.
For sure.
All right, man, let's get out of here. Probably going to hit you up later in the week to do another pod, because there's lots of NBA final basketball to discuss and more to talk shit about.
And the drafts will be coming up soon. Yes. We're uplifting here. You want to uplift
corner. Safe space.
There you go. Tap, 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 tap once more. That's what Grayson taught me. When you need to calm down. Crazy. I love it though. I can't believe a 5-year-old's telling me how to chill. It's great.
We could take a lesson from the youth, youthful youth of this world.
I'm literally using that to tell other kids, like, hey, dude, when you got to chill, do this. 5 years old.
Yeah. All right, Jay. See you next time.
See you.